time anniversary of the Blue Bus starting out, as it turned. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
ah, beautiful.
And
yeah.
we hadn't realized until we got there, so it was a real sweet surprise that.
Yeah, gorgeous.
Go ahead, we can
Mm.
start with you.
There was a blue bus in Seattle for a while, a blue bus. It wasn't the
Oh
blue bus.
yeah,
Do
that
you
was
know
the
about
one
that?
that Charlie.
Charlie
Oh,
Morton brought it from
Yeah, yeah.
Tacoma. Yeah. We had
Oh,
it parked down by Lake Union for about a year. But
Uh,
then I think Charlie arranged for it to go somewhere else, but I forgot. He had put nice stained glass windows in it. It was very pretty.
oh,
yeah,
wow.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were encouraged. He spoke about it a bit on some Zoom thing, and we were encouraging him to do a special Zoom thing on that and show pictures and all that. So
Yeah, I wish, that was like around 1972 and I didn't even well, there weren't smartphones or anything.
oh.
No, I
yeah.
didn't think of taking pictures of it or anything.
Well, he's evidently got them. So I think we better start. Rosalie's got the
Yeah.
bus warmed up, and we don't want to waste gas.
Mhm.
And it all happened during the Blue Bus tours in India.
Jai Meher Baba. Oh, and Rosalie found a blue bus emoji. Also was Monday
There
thing.
is on my phone. So there's a little blue bus. It really looks. I was so pleased. Yeah.
Let's see. So this is the second um, article titled "My Life in Baba." It's a little shorter, so we'll be doing this one and then a second one. You want to start, Rosalie? You want me to start?
You could start.
Yeah. My Life in Baba by Princess Norina Matchabelli. To believe that one is free in winning will is illusion. To think that one is free in I infinite in being, to create the idea of life as free choice in real order in mind infinite, is absolutely an ordinary error of life and ignorance. One is in no way free. One is in any way, in all ways, bound to reaction infinite. In infinite I, in finite I, one is bound to life in realizing order in reaction. One is free of life in use of life. One is free of use in I in finite reaction when surrendered to him for use of him. To live in him in use in I as use of him is us divine. In us divine is to realize that one is in him the reaction infinite, and in the reaction infinite one is free in winning order and I as use infinite. Being in us free to live free, to die free, to be born in our own I infinite is to have in our own mind the divine I in use. The illusion infinite is the same illusion finite as fact of real order, realized order in I. It is of no use to find a way to react in us beyond. One is in self-action, in delusion, a mere fool of life that in use in finite reaction thinks of himself to be use of himself as use selfish. We owe to be so, to make it so, and to appear so, to self-use. But we in us owe in deep, unfathomable life unrealized, the real life, the good life, the pure life that is unconditional use of truth as Him.
That oneness act of being Sri Meher Baba has to stir in us. He in us is order and divine use free in one all-one expansion infinite. This oneness work in us we realize in real design unselfish when we in Him see the divine life react in us unselfish. To understand Sri Meher Baba, one has to realize that He is infinite and finite in one. The divine theme must be in us a fact that we experience. It is individual adjusting in all who in Him resign. One has to subconsciously adjust, and in subtle I order, and in I infinite, give in for use of Him. It means to live life as use infinite instead of as use finite, personal, individual. It means to have a more unselfish outlook. It means to react more universally. It is to give in all and to react in all. As use in all, in any, it is to serve unselfishly. Unselfish life is practical. The conditions of life shall appear the same, but shall be in substance one. Life winning in substantial order within shall do in undoing the same one work in expansion in consciousness. And life external shall appear different. Life real shall appear new in us, and life ordinary shall appear new. As new is all that is new in us in experience. All is experience. The divine I is the experience of life infinite in us, in love infinite. One is in self-use, in illusion, any or all. One is I. One is truth. One is God. So one is one, all one, use infinite, for use infinite. The divine life that in us is still illusion. He in us shall stabilize into a state real as experience. It is to be so, as it is so as He who is the personified order in being as life real, as perfect human creature. The one as portion infinite in us is state infinite in illusion, and in Him is realized order in I as love, one, the all indivisible expansion of life real, good, unselfish, real one. It is this deep state infinite, in us portion infinite, that he has to realize to make in us new the old theme. The old theme is to grow in us, truth. One, he, the beloved. He is the realizing order infinite that in us is superior to any order in conscience. One has to want to pursue one's one in all I as expansion infinite in conscious life and realize in one's one the new life as new human. The new life is no more adventure. It is fulfillment, real, of what seems futile and unreal. It is making new what in us is auto act of non-realized order in self-state unreal. We yearn to see in us life real. We yearn to see in us mind as use of truth. We realize oneness as infinite use. We realize oneness as finite use of use infinite. We resign free to win in free, unself-reactive, for use selfish, all reactions.
He is as he is. He is what he does. He in me is life real that in perpetual reaction is fulfilling my one in I life that is infinite. I see, know, feel in him resigned the work of truth grow in reaction in all. To give, to live, to know, to feel is more of use than to think life must be lived in one all finite show, infinite in harmony, infinite. It is oneness life that we realize in our own small I. The real realized state is wonder state in us that he in us shall win as life real. Oneness is rest in being. To live in him for him is to live in him for him in one. This I know, see, and find in my oneness way in him. It is more or less infinite joy. It is more or less divine life infinite. It is oneness state real in love for him. It is self-delusion work of oneness in perpetual realizing reaction, till in him one is submerged, no one, but all one in him. We need to evolve. We have to surpass the phase in reaction selfish. It is indivisible life, indivisible good, real being, expansion, in knowing and in self-use infinite. It is being order. This being order is good. It is selfless good being order that in use infinite is giving to I new and real life. New real life. That what we know winning in use unselfish is to bring to real expansion and use in I, in head, the real oneness state in love. To love is to bring to full expansion in us truth. It is to make in us use of the divine I. As infinite I, it is to live in us, free, to be free of fear, of prejudice, of pain, indivisible in use. We have to resign to the self state in reaction, in head as imagination, and as self-use of intuition. We must give way to us as human aspirant, the real life, and no more of the imaginary false I, the ego. To resign to one who is real is to resign in use infinite in us for use of him, the beloved, true, real one. Hey, Baba. So that completes those two articles, and we will pause. And
what are we going to read this time?
the next one in line is Intimate Talks with the Master, of the Master. You start, Rosalie.
Intimate Talks of the Master by Princess Norina Matchabelli. Sri Meher Baba states in mystical language, the definition of reaction in mind as use in any experience is real and true when it is in self. All else is untrue, unreal. Anyone who is in being reactive to I impersonal is use of me direct. The direct use of me in I impersonal is me. So is the experience, and so is the act in reaction in I individual. More is absolutely unnecessary to say, as in use in I is all an order impersonal, that in I individual is the self in will, the self in aim, and the self in longing is absolute realizing order imperative for I as one, as truth, as God. I here design the disciple to absolute realizing reaction. I here design the disciple to real experience in I impersonal. Then I, as use one in use two, as the duo reaction in mind, create the truth as one in I, order to realize in use one. It is to super react in I individual. It is to super react in I as use dual, the real use that is to realize in I impersonal. When I hear as descended expansion in I, as use one, as truth realized human being, do the realizing reaction. It is to use in I as individual, the self. The self is use of me direct, the truth impersonal in use in I in use. All in the impersonal I is use of me. So is the act of war. War is truth order to realize the absolute in mind, in being. It is to make the individual I real and true, real and good in being, in I indivisible in use. This is to say, when I as use in I, as use one, throw in I the pure element of life as realized state in being that is love, it is realizing in use in I, the one in I use, that is one all realizing being that is love. It is realizing in use in I, the one in I use, that is one all realizing reaction. This is the one in I life as use in thought impersonal. It is the I order impersonal in mind, in being, as self, as universal conscience. It is all as I, the one, I as use. This is to say, it is the universal use in I, as the impersonal portion in use in I individual.
To realize the I, one has to realize the realizing order in use. This is what all of you misinterpret. You have no free use in being. It is me. You have no free use in I impersonal. It is I, as one, as use, who is the one in I use one. You have no use imperative in I as conscience. It is I, who is the real wonder order impersonal in being. See it. Realize in this and be in it indifferent and in real, quiet, acting reaction. I as use am the use in I impersonal. To live for me is use impersonal of I individual. To live for me is use one in I as use individual. All I hear, real and true, show imperative in realizing reaction is to give to real and true show impersonal real reaction in use, in all. So be, grow, and do. Real and one in I as use impersonal. Real as reaction in use. Do me the favor to realize in I impersonal, me, and no more you. See this as whole in I. See this as one in I. See this as two in one, as pure realization impersonal in I individual, for use of I imperative, as one, as I, as me, the man as God. It is pure wisdom of I impersonal that here is speaking. See me real and good, give to all the real one and I resurrection.
It is to find in you and I impersonal the real one, the real I. It is to conscious, real, and one show, impersonal in use, the real I in you individual. I here know in mind in man what is the mind as use impersonal. I here so in use one in I, as pure portion impersonal. The real one in I use that is I one I pure, I real is I divine. I ask you to show me in use in you, the real I. It is to be selfless, unassuming, real, simple, natural, unself-reactive, unself-conscious. It is to be indivisible in being, in longing. It is to live for use of I in all. It is to create non-resistance in I impersonal, to react in I individual for use of me. It is to live for them who owe me, to live in the one in I of anyone in being, in I impersonal in use of them, as I, as one, as mind is as individual. It is to live for me as human creature, to live in me in being in love with all and any, as in all in any is I, the truth. So it is superfluous to create the self impersonal in mind, as it is in mind impersonal when I impersonal is no use of thought. I am in time, in space, the I impersonal. I am in life, in mind, the I imperative as I as one. I am in me as individual, the realizing order to realize the I in one. This be sure of. Here as the manifestation in I, as me one, as two in one. I as use impersonal, create the self, the dual I, the one in I as self impersonal, as use impersonal, imperative in I individual. See this as oneness, wonder in use. See this as use in I impersonal, and see the one in I, indivisible in it, be you.
Order in me, in use of me, is rare. Life as use general is use of me indirect. This is fact. I hear real and one, do me as use one, create me as use real. Realize in use of me unself-conscious, of I impersonal, unself-reactive in I impersonal, real in use imperative in I individual. I am dictator of I in use of one as me. I is use. Remember now the use as a past condition. See in duo reaction the position in realizing the I indivisible and one in I as one all use in I. The I divine is all the show impersonal. Oneness is design impersonal, in use indivisible, in one impersonal. As individual expansion impersonal in being is I, the realized state real. This is use of I, use of one, use of truth. One all I is me, the descended, realized I. See it. Realize in it you as human creation. See, be, react, do. Realize, give, do. Bring in use in I impersonal, me. This be and realize. This see and realize. This react in thought and understand. This know. Impersonal, imperative in I, impersonal, is me.
Use one in I as you, the portion imperative, is I. I as one as I am you impersonal. This real experience I do realize in all, here now, is to awaken the impersonal I. This is to realize in mind, in man, the divine I. It is portion in I impersonal that in use one has to pursue within I indivisible as one as the portion in I impersonal, the real I. This is good and pure life to be practiced. It is good and pure expansion imperative in use imperative as use one. This manifestation impersonal in I as use individual is to real and true show imperative in use the life. It is still to be realized in I individual. It is to create new impersonal I state in mind as I intellect. It is still to be one in I as use real. It is in a few cases me in being, creating in use, one for use imperative. This is too high to realize for use general. The use general is indirect use. The use one is pure use impersonal in doing in I as use of truth. This I here have to pursue and realize in use of war. War, real and true, has to create in use imperative the transmutation in I as use one. So I have to pursue the I impersonal in I individual to create new conscious winning order impersonal in mind in man. Life was impersonal in intellect and impersonal in use in I as use real till it was superficial reaction. Now it is imperative one in I use as I imperative. I am the life, the way, the realizing show imperative in use, to use the I for use one. This must be experienced. The realizing experience in I individual is suffering. It is self-imposed, real good way to expiate in I, individual, the one, the I impersonal. The I, one in use in all, is within, impersonal in suffering. This is to say that one in I as pure I, as one use in all, is self in realizing state, and as such it is divine. It is still, it is reactionless.
In duo expansion in I is all use. Use is suffering, thinking, doing. Undoing reaction impersonal is being in suffering. Realizing in mind in I, in conscious realizing reaction, is pain impersonal. All is realizing in use impersonal, the real I. This is to suffer for use of me. Impersonal, indirect in use is I, in one in I, as pure order impersonal, in the show impersonal. I as portion of I. Universal is me in the winning urge to succumb to I as use one. I do the lifelong urge to create in man the new awake state in mind impersonal. I am in I as use one, the one in I use, that is use for use. No more use is state impersonal as realized state. This see, know, real and true realize. This know, see, do, realize, and react. It is impersonal realization in I that what I here use in mind in man. So be, realize, do in I impersonal, no reaction effort, as in mind impersonal is me, the use impersonal, for use of me direct.
For use of one in I is he, the exponent of I. This we as him in resignation of us in all see and real and true experience. We experience the false I as use imperative, as duo order imperative, as self, as I impersonal. We experience in us him be the use one. We realize in us him use two in one. We know, see, find in use in us him as one use, as I act imperative. This we as him in use, so in design of I individual, that is impersonal. This we real and true realize in use one, as I as individual, when we realize in us one as I imperative, in I impersonal. This experience we see, know, find in us at any age and development on the spiritual way. It is self in use making in us new design to awake. It is antidote to I individual. It is self-use impersonal of us. Order in us imperative is to real and one, real and pure, know him. When he is alive in use in us as mind, alive in use in us as form, impersonal in I individual, we see more, we realize deeper the truth. We do no more realize for use one as us, the pure self, as portion, but we real and one do win in I impersonal, our whole one, as I as use of him. Sri Meher Baba as real order imperative in us, in I individual, is our I, us in I, our one in I, the pure portion that is in use, one self, imperative use.
We must see the difference. As radiant order imperative in us, he, the super silent I, the divine I imperative, the sure impersonal one, the real impersonal, is the wonder imperative in realizing reaction in us. He has to realize in use in us the I. He has to realize in us, in use in I impersonal, our I impersonal. We need to grow out of life dual to oneness form. We must see more. We must be far more than we show to win in I individual, as use impersonal in intellect. The I as use one is use general. This form impersonal in use in us in intuition, he as self-realized, as one in I real, has to react to make in us, him be in us, the reaction. We have to see the difference in use in I impersonal, in I individual, as use impersonal, and the I imperative in use one, as use real in us individual. Here is the point to discuss with you, says Sri Meher Baba. Here he makes it clear. Let it be real and true, the use impersonal. Let it be good and one for use impersonal. No mind impersonal is no one impersonal. I indivisible as I indivisible. I impersonal is I as use imperative in all. That has to be action impersonal, reaction impersonal. I use impersonal in use imperative is me as manifested one as truth, realized human being. Mind and body and spirit in one, all one use have to realize the imperative I. It is self-manifestation. It is self in realized wonder reaction. It is use impersonal all through in small, in huge form, in small, in huge I as use.
The realized real order imperative in us is to be. To be is to personify the use. To be is to realize the one in I impersonal use. It is use impersonal in use one. This is to realize in use in I as whatever I order it is. Who is one? God is I. God is he as one as I. As use one, he is God.
Hey, Baba. Hey, Betty. Hey, Baba. So that was, boy, I tell you,
Yeah.
you don't have to wait for the mystical life. It's there everywhere.
It's very exciting, I find.
Huh? Yeah. So, we're jumping from the frying pan into the fire because it's now the gift. Now it's another talk in the fragments of a spiritual diary. But any comments before? What the?
I have to say, wow.
Yeah. Like, again, every single line, every half sentence is has this huge container of jewels, that how to imbibe even one of those contain one jewel within one container. It's so full and so deep and so delightful at the same time.
I was finding just today or yesterday, I can't remember which, but in that Mystical Life 8, it's about joy and freedom, which is, and I've been kind of committing parts of it to memory. And I realized because I have to go, it's over and over. And it really, it's like looking at a rose close, and you keep seeing finer aspects of it in terms of just repeating it to commit to memory. But
Mhm.
and it just goes on, right?
I
It
have to
applied
admit that
to,
I would
I'm
just
sorry.
say sometimes this is the time when my mind was sort of not liking it. It was like, whoa. It was very interesting I was just reading on, but I could, it was almost like the mind said, wait a minute, let me tell you something. It was really interesting. That is there. I mean, my mind's not gone.
Jonathan, give us a line or two from what you were just saying that you've been uh,
God in us is rejoicing his own experience of joy. Mayor Baba here speaking is using the divine verb. His voice is use of the realized order imperative in him, the realized man as God. I here say to you and all who here know me, I say to you who in my own circle have experienced, have realized, have experienced in me truth. I here say to them who in them have in me seen and realized the truth order in conscience. You know what I realized in that paragraph is he's referring to the people who are around him, the people who are in a circle, and the mus and saliks, wherever they are, who in consciousness are. So it's that was the first realization, because I was going through and I didn't realize that was, and then he says, "See in all as mind, in I in, that in mind, see in all as mind, that in I impersonal is verb as pure power, that is self in I, in use, in all and everyone."
thank you.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
But he goes on to say, but it gets a little bit farther into it, and this joy gets paired with freedom. And to me, that it becomes a mystical life expression of what Baba announced when he announced the life circulars, beginning with the life circulars, saying, I am now enjoying freedom for myself, and I now extend that freedom to those who are connected with me. And the ability to, be with him and follow his orders, go elsewhere and follow his orders, or most significantly now that he isn't physically here, we go wherever we want and not follow my orders. And how do we do that? We have to look inward. That's what the mystical life is all about. And then his order becomes whatever happens in the moment when you're just receptive to whatever happens in the moment.
So beautifully said.
And sometimes it feels like reading these or having them, listening to you reading them almost on a precipice, just a step off. And it's all that's
That
required.
reminds me that the greatest fear on the path is the last step when you're on the sixth plane and you have to let go of the safety net, the pumpkin on a chain, the thing that makes you feel that you are, and you've got to let go of that all. That's the great.
Yeah, not quite there yet, don't think.
No, we're not there, but it
No.
seems like it sometimes.
Your best, what you just shared, the thought that came to my mind immediately. I don't know if you know anything about the tarot cards, which I think Bob didn't want folks using, but the first card is the Fool, who has one foot on the cliff, on the other over, like it's already stepping off to Lord knows what. But he's really the wise person, but he's
right.
known as the Fool.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
That reminds me of the role of humility. And saying that the Fool has humility, I would assume, because I was just thinking about the day. We think we know it, but we don't.
Yeah.
And here, in the Buddhist tradition, the Fool is well documented historically, and this is actually has in 1980, St. Helens, a big volcano in Washington State, exploded, and soot from that, or whatever, the ashes, are used in making him. This is someone named Putai, or Hotai by the Japanese, Putai by the Chinese, and he's an historical figure. This one I think you can't see well. You can't see his face very well, but it's carved from wood. This one you can see a little better, and he has on his back what's called a bag of garbage, and the guys in the other monks in the monastery considered him a fool, and that he just went around collecting garbage. But he was actually the one that was closest to God realization, and he would, probably not unlike some of the musts that Baba was working with. That
Reminds me of Gustachi collecting all of the stuff.
Exactly.
It
And
also reminded me of Dennis McCabe, who for years his job was collecting the garbage around the center. He was responsible for the evening meetings and collecting garbage.
yes, quite
One
a
of the first things we did when we got to Maribad.